Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Valorant video. Today is an in-depth guide for SOVA. Recently I did one for Viper and that got a lot of awesome feedback. Glad you enjoyed it. So this time, this is for my SOVA mains out there. This beautiful hunk of a man right here. He has a enormous amount of potential with his shock arrows and scout arrows. I think he's a great agent, and this video should show you why. So my good friend Forrest that helped me out with Viper's video went and found a bunch of awesome spots to use those arrows on the maps Haven and Bind. Split doesn't have too many spots just because there's no open areas, a lot of corners. His arrows aren't the best on that map, at least not for, crazy strategy type arrows. But like I said, I'm making this video with my friend Forrest. He's the one that found all these awesome arrow spots, and if you have any questions at all, go follow him on Twitter. You might as well do that either way, because this is not going to be the last time you hear his name in this game. He's a beast. Go hit him with a follow, and if you have any questions whatsoever about any spot that you see in this video, tweet him, message him. He will reply to you and help you out. This video did turn out to be pretty long. 25 minutes is a long time, but we try to make it as short and sweet as possible, straight to the point. Didn't waste a lot of time, and it's really just that long because there are that many awesome spots. And if you are a SOVA main, you are going to want to know all of them. These spots will be essential in helping your team get wins on Bind and Haven. So hop in a custom game while you're watching this video. Try these spots out for yourself. If you're not a SOVA main, send this to your friend who is. That way they can help you get these wins on these maps, and you guys will be having a blast. So yeah, without further ado, make sure you guys smash that like button if you enjoyed the video, if this helps you out at all. Let me know in the comments what agent you play if you're not a SOVA main. And like I said, share this with a few SOVA mains if you're not one, and show them what this guy is capable of. He is insane. These arrows are awesome. And yeah, that's about it for me, so I'm going to let Forrest take over from here. Like I said, go follow him on Twitter. Tweet him any questions you have. I'm also going to leave a clip of him at the very end talking to you guys as well. But without further ado, let's get right on into it.
So there's four different charges you can use when you're doing SOVA arrows. You can see 3 different bars. If you're anywhere in between one of those bars, whether it's right at the beginning of it or right at the end, your charge will always be the same. The 4th charge comes when you fully charge it. It's more powerful than all the other charges. So just when you're doing a lineup, be mindful of that. None of the lineups are going to require anything in the 1st bar for lineups that I'm going to show you. But if it's in the 2nd bar and the 3rd bar or fully charged, pay attention to that. Also, most of you probably already know this, but if you right click, it changes the number of bounces up to 2. So be mindful of the amount of bounces there are as well. One other thing to note is if you come up to a lineup and let's say my crosshair is on this right now without any charge. If I fully charge this, my crosshair changes. So be mindful of where your crosshair is and if your crosshair is supposed to be lined up while fully charged or after, or like before charging. Alright, your first spots are going to be on A. Real simple, there's 4 spots you can do right from this corner on A site. And they're all going to require full charge, 1 bounce. You can line your crosshair up before charging for all of these. So 1 bounce. Also keep in mind, some of these lineups are going to require higher textures and video settings in order to see the things I'm lining up with. So your first lineup is going to be from here to B long. If you line your air up right here along this, and then right about here in relation to this corner piece, 1 bounce, full charge.
Revealing area.
And that's going to go all the way to B long. Right there. Alright, your next spot from this corner is going to be towards mid. So if you find this right panel here and you see this darker line here through these lighter parts, aim at the very bottom of that, 1 bounce, full charge.
Revealing area.
And that's going to land right into mid. Alright, your next spot is going to be onto B site. This is useful if you have nobody on B site currently, you're retaking from A, whatever it is. You're going to find this white spot here, and you're going to go down from the middle of it until you see this darker patch here. So you're going to aim right here. 1 bounce, full charge.
Revealing area.
That's going to land right in the middle of sight. I probably won't get there in time to see it, but it's right behind here. All right, the last lineup from this position, again, one bounce full charge. This one's going to be the hardest to do consistently, so you might need to practice it. You're going to find this light edge right here on the corner. Make sure you're exactly on this light edge, and you're going to line up in between these two. Where vertically doesn't matter as much. It's more important that you're on this gray edge exactly. One bounce full charge, and that's going to be for bathrooms outside of it. I'll land right there and light all this up. All right, your next lineup is another bathrooms lineup. The reason I'm going to include this one is because the first one that I showed takes a little while to land, and something you need to know about SOVA's arrows is it's important to know how long it takes to land. If you need one to land quickly for quicker information, then you might need a different lineup. So this one you need to line up pre-round, but you're going to go into this corner here until you don't move. You're going to line yourself up with the top of this I guess, radio tower post here, this light here, and don't move your crosshair at all from this point. You're going to then move yourself back up against this heaven wall here, slide yourself along until you're right above this yellow point. You see directly below my crosshair is a yellow point, and then you're going to do within the second bar, no bounce.
Revealing area.
And that's going to be a faster arrow for outside bathrooms. It's going to land right on that wall, and it's going to, right at the start of the round, tell you who's there. All right, last lineup on A site. If you go here along this box, anywhere when this box is covering this corner, roughly in that area, and then you're going to one bounce full charge about one crosshair's length above here. For my crosshair at least, full charge. It's going to bounce off there, and it's going to land on the wall short there and reveal anyone here at the start of the round. All right, next we're going to move to B site. So first one's going to be a quick arrow for B long. What you're going to want to do is put yourself up against this wall and look at this container here. You're going to want to back up until the top of this red part, you see the part that sticks up a little bit on there, is even with the little notch in this wall. Then you're going to want to single bounce right in between the two, but on this entirely, so in between the red and the notch, but still on there. Single bounce, full charge.
Revealing area.
It's going to bounce off the top of that, land down in long quickly on that wall, and give you recon of long. Then the last arrow for on B site is if you put yourself into this corner, you're going to want to find where these two triangles cross. Put your crosshair on it, maybe a little bit to the right. You'll get a feel for it when you practice it. And then you're going to want to move up with your crosshair directly until it's just above the black line, about where my crosshair is. For reference, my crosshair is a length of 7 if you need to use it for lineups. But once your crosshair is here, then you're going to fully charge. Notice how your crosshair moves. Don't worry about it. No bounce, fully charged. And that's going to recon mid. It's going to take a second to land, so be mindful of that. But it'll get in mid, and it'll also show anyone who's inside the mid tunnel. All right, so this first one to retake side A, you're going to line yourself up the crosshair between these tiles here. And then you're going to find this splotch here in the middle, and there's a white dot in there. And you're going to one bounce to above 2 bars.
Revealing area.
Just like that. That's going to go towards A site and land right there and show you anyone who's sitting on A site behind these boxes that might be holding for you. All right, and this last CT lineup is going to be for retaking B from CT. You're going to put yourself in the corner by these barrels. You're going to one bounce full charge and look at the corner of this window. So the bottom left corner right here is where you're going to aim, full charge,
Revealing area.
one bounce. And that's going to land right there and light up B site. Alright, we back. You good? Yo, pizza boy. Damn, pizza boy AFK. Unlucky. Oh, pizza boy, the video is calling. Tis you, tis you.
Were you talking to me?
Oh, you're welcome back. Yeah, welcome back. Making sure you're here.
Even if I'm not, it's still everything's still going.
You just got me singing. Congrats. All right, moving on to T side. First one's going to be an arrow for onto B site. You're going to line yourself up into this rock. Look at this speck of dirt right here. 2 bounces, fully charged. Reline yourself up with that.
Revealing area.
That's going to bounce off the ground, off of that, and go straight to B site. This arrow is nice because it lands right on top of the metal box here. It shows B site and anyone in hookah. Alright, the next 2 lineups are going to be from B middle. So if you put yourself right into this corner, you're going to aim at the top left corner of this board, go straight up until your crosshair is just about before the cross between the wall and the beam. Then move right until your crosshair is on the cross between the wall and the beam. Don't move your crosshair from here. Slide your back along the wall until it's in between these 2 beams here. And full power, no bounce.
Revealing area.
That's going to land on B site. Keep in mind this one does take a moment to land. I'll land right there. Next arrows from the exact same position. Put yourself into this corner. Aim up until your crosshair is between this lamp and this metal piece here. Right there. Don't move your crosshair. Slide yourself along this back wall until your crosshair is on this beam. And move forward until you're right there in that gap. Where exactly isn't too important as long as you're in that gap and your arrow goes through it and you have not moved your crosshair. Full charge, no bounce.
Revealing area.
This is going to be an arrow for A site from B mid. Please cut that out.
Oh man.
You want to redo that one? Or
No, I'll cut it out.
Next arrow is going to be from right here. You're going to put yourself on top of this first box. Aim it so your crosshair is at the corner of this. And I'd recommend even just a tiny bit up from the corner of that to make this more consistent. You're then going to want to fall off the box without moving your crosshair. Slide over till your crosshair is right here on this brick. Slide left until it's between those, the top part corner and the right side indent. Full charge, no bounce.
Revealing area.
Keep in mind this one does take a moment to land. It'll land right there and light up the site. This last recon arrow is going to be from outside A short. It's going to be for outside A short. It's going to light up U-Haul in that area. Keep in mind you cannot line this one up at the start of the round, and you need somebody covering your short when you do. This one might take some practice to get perfect. So what you're going to do is put yourself into this corner, 1 bounce. You're going to find the corner of this brick here with a dark underline. You're then going to notice there's this darker shade underneath that brick and the lighter shade. So what you're going to want to do is on the line between the darker shade and the lighter shade, go right beneath the corner and slide along that line until you're just to the left of the corner of this brick. So your crosshair is going to end up being right here. Then you're going to fully charge. Do not move your crosshair. You're going to notice it moves.
Revealing area.
And with enough practice, it'll end up landing exactly there, which lights up U-Haul exactly in all of this area for taking short. All right, last arrow is just a quick general shock arrow lineup for outside of hookah for players that like to sit in this corner to be able to hit people who sit in this area consistently with a shock arrow. It's really simple. Just get yourself into this corner, shock arrow, 2 bounces, fully charge, and aim them at the right of this kind of patch here. It's not too specific, but it'll shock right back there. Alright, on to Haven. Starting off on CT side as an A player, there are 3 ways I have found that you can recon into Garden, which is going to be this area right here. So first, all of these are going to be off of the ground, one bounce, and your charge is going to be in the final bar. So first, one bounce, you're going to be in this corner, lining up with the corner of this tile here, and you're going to
Revealing area.
in the third bar, and that's going to land into garden. All right, the second arrow is going to be for the exact same spot. You're going to put yourself into this corner, single bounce, and you're going to find the corner of this brick and go slightly over between the corner and this crack here. So you're going to be right here on this line.
Revealing area.
Same power. It's going to go over that wall, and it's going to go into garden. All right, the third lineup from on A side, again, is for the exact same spot. It's just to switch it up, and if you want to be able to play Heaven, then you can sit in Heaven and do the lineup from Heaven. So what you're going to want to do is line yourself up with the center of this beam here. You can crouch to make it a little more accurate, so you're right there. Stand back up. One bounce, you're going to aim down at the sill here, find this spec, and aim at the right side of it, right here. And same exact power in the third bar.
Revealing area.
It's going to land straight into garden. So the point of having multiple lineups that land in the exact same point is in case the enemy starts to become aware of exactly where the recon arrow lands, then you can try to throw them off, and perhaps they can't destroy it in time for you to at least get a single pulse off with the recon arrow and see how many enemies are there. All right, one more lineup for garden, not from A site. This is going to be for A link. If you're a B site player or you're rotating off of A and you just want to see if anyone's in garden while you're rotating, you can put yourself in the corner of this box in A link, aim somewhere within this area of this rooftop on the edge of it, and do the same amount of charge, no bounce, in that third bar, and that'll land straight into garden. All right, next set of lineups is for B player. If you're on B site, there's a number of arrows you can do. A lot of these arrows are going to be safest from the back here behind the gong. So this first arrow I'm going to show you, if you're in this right corner, or generally in this side of the gong here, you're going to do no bounce. You're going to find where this little mark is. So you see the middle beam here, there's a little mark to the right of it right here. And if you just aim at the very top bar of the redwood here, and you just do anywhere in the second bar, so 1.5.
Revealing area.
It's going to go straight out. It's going to land into window, show anyone in window and anyone in mid. Additionally, if you want to use a shock arrow to hit anyone who's pre-firing mid from this position, you can do the same exact lineup with a shock arrow, even right above the mid line. Again, no bounces, same charge. The shock arrows have the exact same mechanics for charging and bouncing as the recon arrows do. And an alternative way to do that shock arrow is if you're on the left side here, down mid, you can kind of line yourself up here without peeking that mid area, and do one bounce right in this kind of white patch that's lower, and do in the third bar, and you'll see it'll land right there into anyone who's mid window peeking you at the start of the round or whenever. All right, this next lineup is going to be from C-Link outside of Seashore Garage. This is going to be for middle. If you put yourself into this corner until you can't move right here between this wood and this stone here, you're going to go look down and you're going to find these bricks here. Find this dot here, follow it to the edge between these two bricks, so right here, and then move along that line a little bit until you're right here. You're going to do one bounce, and you're going to do in the third bar, so like 2.5 charge.
Revealing area.
And that's going to go all the way over mid and land right there. All right, these next arrows are going to be for a C player, CT side. A couple different ways to arrow off long C. You're going to put yourself into this corner with this broom, find the top of this steeple, follow it up until the just below the top of this cloud here, and you're going to do 1.5 or in the second bar of charge, no bounce. I'll go and I'll land right there. And this next arrow for C long from C site, you're going to put yourself into this corner and slide yourself along this wall until you can see almost all of this this steeple here. Find this window on the left side of it, follow it up until you get to the top of these leaves. 1 bounce and 2.5 or in the third bar of charge.
Revealing area.
And this is just going to give you a different angle for where that lands. It's going to bounce off and go right here, so they can't easily shoot it. Alright, this next lineup is going to be for the cubby on C long, right in this area. Somebody's sitting their post plant, or you know somebody's pushed up there. You can line yourself up against the back of this wall here. Aim straight up, and you see these 3 billowing clouds of smoke. You want to line yourself up with the middle one, right where the edge of that is. And right about in the middle of it, you're going to want to do no bounce and 2.5 or in the third bar of charge. Just let that float over and hit anyone sitting in the cubby. Alright, these last few arrows are going to be for CT side retakes of both A and C site. The first one is going to be for C site. If you're coming from CT, you can actually walk along this here and get yourself jammed up into this corner. Look around and you'll see these clouds here. You'll see right here there's a notch in the clouds, and that's exactly where you're going to want to put your crosshair. And you're going to want to do 1.5 or in the second bar of charge with no bounce.
Revealing area.
It's going to go right over top. It's going to land on the wall in C site, revealing anyone in the corners. The next retake arrow is also going to be for C site. It's going to land in the exact same spot, but this time from C link. You're going to want to put yourself into this corner in C link. Aim up from about the corner of this roof here. Aim up until you can kind of see this darker line across here. It lines up with this shingle that hangs off. This one might take a little bit of a feeling to get, but it's right here is where you're going to want to put your crosshair. It's going to be the same level of charge and no bounce.
Revealing area.
And it will land in the exact same spot, lighting up the area. The next arrow is going to be for retaking A from CT. You're going to put yourself right into this corner right here, 1 bounce, and find the top edge of this piece of metal here, right in the middle of it. And you're going to want to do 2.5 charge, and that's going to land right there and light up these corners for you. Alright, this last CT arrow is going to be also to retake A from A link this time. Might take some practice to get this one down, but you're going to put yourself right into this corner in A link. Find this barrel here, the top brim. You'll see a part where the black is a bit thicker than the rest of it. Find the middle of that, slide your crosshair right ever so slightly along the brim of it. 2 bounces, full charge. Aim after you charge at the right side here. Let it go. It's going to bounce twice there. It should land perfectly right on that roof, lighting up all of these corners for you. Alright, next we're going to swap over to T side here. We're going to be taking A site. We have 2 different arrows here. One takes a while to land, while the other is quite fast, depending on the type of push you're doing. For the first one, the one that takes a while to land, you're going to put yourself up into this corner. You're going to look straight up, and you're going to find this hole in the branches of this tree. You're going to want to put your crosshair right about here exactly. It might take a little bit of practice. And once your crosshair is there, do not move your crosshair. Slide yourself up along this wall until you find these 3 wooden pieces and do no bounce, full charge,
Revealing area.
and send it. And that arrow will land exactly right here outside of heaven to light up everything on site, except under heaven. Next arrow for taking A site lands in the exact same spot, but it goes off a bit faster for if you're taking the site faster. It does take a little bit more practice to line this one up, though. What you're going to want to do is go up onto this ledge here, slide yourself along until your crosshair is on the edge of this second ledge here. Stand up, 1 bounce, and you're going to want to find this crack in the bricks here. All right, so put my crosshair right here exactly, and I do 2.5 power or into the third bar.
Revealing area.
and it'll bounce. It's going to land in the exact same spot the other A arrow did. Just notice it lands a lot quicker. All right, this next arrow is extremely hard to duplicate, so it's going to take a lot of practice. It's also kind of useless in my opinion, but hey, if you want to show off and be able to recon arrow B site, because it's kind of difficult in general, then here's a safe way to do it. Come into B window. You're going to have to crouch down, stay crouching for the entirety of this one. Crouch down until your crosshair gets to the right side of where this broken triangle is on this brick, right in this crack. Stay crouching. One bounce, full charge, find the brick right here, and where it dips down slightly in the middle of this dark part of the brick, you're going to full charge it,
Revealing area.
and it'll go all the way to the back of B site. All right, this next arrow is going to be for C site from outside C long. What you're going to do is put yourself right to this corner here, look at the ground and these leaves, and you'll see there's a little indent in the leaves right here, where these two leaves spike out. Right above it is a little indent. Put your crosshair right into that indent. Do not move your crosshair. You're going to want to slide along the back of the wall until your crosshair comes even with this dark spot here on the ground. You're going to want to 1 bounce and 2.5 or in the third bar of charge.
Revealing area.
And that's going to bounce up over into the back of B site on that wall and light up the entire site. Yo, what's up guys? My name is Forrest. I spent 15 hours working on SOVA arrows on Haven and Bind so that you don't have to, because I have no life. Just before we get started here, I want to preface that most, but not all of these arrows I made up myself. So if you see an arrow that someone else has done before, chances are someone did do it before me, or they just found the lineup as well. No one's copying each other. It's fine. I want to also say that a lot of these arrows, there might be better ways to line them up, more efficient ways, faster ways. These are just ones that I found. So if someone has an arrow that you find is better, you can feel free to leave it in the comments or whatever. Shoot me a DM on Twitter. It's fine. And yeah, let's get started.